Hey, Faith family. My name is Stephen. This is Pastor Ryan. We want to give you an update from our members meeting this past Sunday night. First thing we do at our members meeting is always celebrate new members. Ryan, tell us about how we were welcoming those members.
Yes, so one of the major highlights of our members meeting was introducing those who have joined our church since this past September. We introduced and put forward for membership 74 new members, bringing our total membership up at this time to 999 members.
Man, that's great. We need just one more to be at 1,000. We're praying that the Lord would bring us more members that would be a part of our body. Also, at our members meeting, Patrick gave us a financial update. Giving during this last year has remained very strong. As a matter of fact, Patrick told us that giving in this past church year over the previous church year was up by 15%. And you already saw that at our Christmas missions offering. We gave way beyond our goal. That allowed us to give more to missions than we had even planned to give. And that's because of your generosity. Well, because of your weekly giving that has been so generous over this year, we believe that just like families should give, our church should give. So we give to gospel partners. And because your giving has been so great, we've been able to give to church plants in Rock Hill, in Charleston, South Carolina, where we've sent our members to plant churches in Ann Arbor, Michigan. We've also supported Covenant Hope here locally. And then our international partner, we've got the Salibi family down in Guatemala. We were able to give all of those missions partners more money because of your regular giving this year to support the gospel ministry all over the world. And so what a blessing it is to know that God is still working in our hearts and that we're giving of our treasure. And I pray that even as we talk about some of these other things, we're giving in our time and our talent as well. Speaking of that, one of the things that we do every year, and we presented in this members meeting, was what we call our wildly important goal, the one major focus we have this year. So Ron, tell us about what that goal is for 2021.
Yeah, so our wildly important goal, the thing that we are going to be focusing on as a church this year, we are a church who is a disciple-making church. We are a church who makes disciples, and our goal would be to make disciples who make disciples. And one of the best ways that we believe we can accomplish this is through our faith groups. We believe that the center of our discipleship at Faith are our faith groups. As we begin to look at the numbers and all of those who are involved in faith groups, we found that we currently have 70% of our membership enrolled in a faith group. Now that sounds great, but our goal would be, what is the number of folks who are actively engaged in a faith group? Now let me define actively engaged. We would say someone who is actively engaged in a faith group is someone who attends their group's meetings at least 50% of the time. 50% of the time you're attending your faith group. That means you are actively engaged in a faith group. So we begin to see, so how many of our members are actively engaged in a faith group? That number is only 30%. So that let us know that we really need to focus on all of our members and getting people engaged in a faith group, because faith group is where discipleship happens. Faith group is where you're cared for. Faith group is how we shepherd here at Faith. Faith groups is where you build relationships, you grow together, you pray together, you care for one another. So we believe it is vital for all of our members to be actively engaged in a faith group. So our goal for this year is to have, at the end of this year, to have 85% of our members actively engaged in a faith group. So that means you're going to begin to hear more and more about faith groups on Sunday mornings, all throughout. We're going to be talking about faith groups. We're going to be encouraging you to be a part of a faith group. So we're going to be starting new faith groups, training leaders. And so we are praying that you would be involved in a faith group, because that's where you're going to get discipled. That's where you're going to grow in your faith. That's where you're going to get cared for. Here at Faith.
Amen. Now, Pastor Ron, somebody brought up for us that just being there 50% of the time is not the only way that we're engaged, but it is the way that we've decided we would kind of measure engagement. So we would want to say to our people that you're engaged by being a part, making phone calls and being in fellowships and things that you do outside of that meeting. But what we're going to measure this year is to really say, how are we coming together in that weekly meeting of our faith groups? And so there are other ways to be engaged. That's what we're really looking at as kind of the baseline of actively engaged in a faith group, right? All right. Well, the last thing that we talked about in our meeting for our members was how we believe it's time for another phase in our regathering plan. And so one of the things that we've said is the time for our faith groups is not enough, right? It's only about 45 minutes because we're meeting in a new worship gathering every hour. We also need to use the gym for our Next Gen ministries if we're going to open up more Next Gen ministries on our campus. So one of the things that we presented to our folks is on March the 21st, we're going to go back to the times that we had pre-COVID and be back in our worship center for all of our gatherings. So on March the 21st, we will begin 8, 9:30, and 11 worship gatherings in the worship center, and our online live stream will move to 9:30. So a couple things you need to know about that. They'll all be in the worship center. We will still require masks at the 8 o'clock. Because of where we are with COVID, we're on a great trajectory, but we're not there yet. And so we believe that it's still wise for us to have a mask required gathering. That'll be at 8. We'll still do our live stream. It's moving 30 minutes later to that 9:30, and we'll just live stream that 9:30 gathering. We'll continue to socially distance. We're still not going to put an overwhelming number of people in our worship center. We'll probably still do some kind of check-in, but we're talking about not doing RSVP for that. But the check-in is going to be electronic, and that's just so that we can do contact tracing if something were to happen there. So look forward to that. Man, I look forward to not having to RSVP for gatherings and just being able to be here together. But it also gives us more time for faith groups and space. So talk to us a little bit about how that's going to affect. I mean, if I were in a faith group at 8 o'clock pre-COVID and my faith group's now meeting on Sunday evening at 4 or different, how are we going to deal with those things? I know you're talking to our faith group leaders right now about that.
Yeah, we're talking through faith group leaders about when we come back on that March 21st, what will it look like in terms of when groups are meeting, how they're meeting. And so we're working through the spacing of that, the attendance of those groups, and how they're going to be meeting. We're going to be doing that as well. Also excited about that's when we're going to be able to bring our Next Gen ministries back on our campus. And so we'll have those rooms that we'll be using and bringing some of our students back on campus, as well as our children's ministry, our kids ministry. And so we're excited about that. So we'll be getting more information out to you, working with your faith group leaders right now to kind of work out the details. So you'll be hearing from us soon, from your faith group leaders soon, about those meeting times, meeting days, and all of those things.
Amen. One other thing, Faith, that we presented at our members meeting that is very important and really, really exciting to me about going forward. A couple of things even that we're mentioning here with going back into our worship center. Our numbers have been rising as far as on-campus attendance. Just for an example, February's Sunday morning worship attendance over January's worship attendance is up 20%, and we are excited about more and more of you wanting to get back on campus. But we've noticed, and even before COVID, we needed more times and more space, more options for faith groups. If we're going to have this wildly important goal for everybody to be in a faith group, we're going to need more space and times for that. So we've looked at what other nights could we provide, maybe space on our campus, or pushing some of our faith groups to meet in homes. And if you're interested in that, I want you to get with Pastor Ryan, talk about, hey, could I do a faith group in my home? What does that look like? How could I get ready for that? But one of the things that we're really excited to announce, even in this video, is that our elders have really prayed through, and we presented to our members a new gathering time on Saturday evenings, so that we can provide an opportunity for a faith group gathering Saturday evening in our facility with childcare and a worship gathering to go along with that, because we believe, one of the primary reasons, because we believe discipleship is so important and we need more space and times to give for our faith groups. And so as you think about this, here's the plan. On Saturday evenings, we will offer a faith group time at 5 o'clock from 5 to about 6:15. And then at 6:30, we'll do a worship gathering in the worship center. So if you were to come with your family, you could all go to faith group at 5 o'clock. You could all go then to the worship gathering at 6:30. And man, we're excited about the Lord doing that. A couple of things that I want you to know about that. Why would we do something like that? Well, first, it helps us to reach people in our community. Our neighborhood is growing tremendously. Every direction you leave our church, they are building new homes and cutting in new subdivisions. And so we want to be able to reach more and more people. And then secondly, the reality is when you plant new things grow faster. And so if we plant a new worship gathering, somebody's brand new in our area and they say, hey, they're doing something new at Faith, we want to get involved in that, then we can. And we believe that Saturday evening will be a time that families could say, hey, we could go on Saturday evening after a busy day and then really rest on Sunday. But you also know, if we just are honest, there's no real sacred time in our culture anymore. So Sundays are just as busy as Saturdays. And so we're giving that option to be there on a Saturday to worship as well, so that people could have as much opportunity to be in a part of a church and in a worship gathering. So then it gives us more faith group opportunities, gives us more next gen ministry opportunities, and it'll help us further our efforts to not have to put so many people in smaller rooms or even in our worship center. If we were to go back to our pre-COVID numbers right now, our worship center, I believe, would feel way too packed for our folks even in this moment. So to make that happen, though, we're going to need significant help from you. Want you to pray about being a part of it and helping us start something brand new here at Faith. Here's what I want you to pray about specifically. Number one, will you come to an interest meeting Sunday night, February the 28th at 4 o'clock in our worship center? Sunday night, February 28th, 4 p.m. in our worship center. We need 6 ministry teams to really launch this thing. We need a prayer team. We need a faith group team. We need a next gen discipleship team. We need an outreach team. We need a first impressions team. And we need a worship team to help us start a brand new gathering at Faith. Our goal and our prayer is to begin it on March the 20th, the same weekend that we're doing this new phase on Sunday morning. So March the 20th, 5 p.m., faith group, 6:30 worship gathering, and then Sunday morning, 8, 9:30, and 11, all 3 hours, both faith groups and worship gatherings that we'll have there. Will you pray with us about, is God leading you to be a part of planting something new here at Faith? I hope you'll be here. Even if you just have questions, you come join us February 28th, 4 p.m. for our interest meeting. Thanks so much for watching this video. We're excited about what God's doing here at Faith, and we want to encourage you. Help us reach this community with the gospel of Jesus Christ. God bless you.